a piece with a lot of lights and some cabaret lights, shiny, and that was a piece I made for a local play that was played in my town, and it was very exciting to see it because that was the background for the actors in the first moments of the play, and that was displayed in movie size, so it was great to see it in front of a lot of people. I was trying to make some kind of cabaret lights, like some old-fashioned, like simple movements that repeats. And you see different drawings that I made with the same. You can make these drawings with basically one programming, and then you adjust to a different styles. That was nice. Changing colors at the end, and there goes the final moment. Fade out to black, and that's it. We're gonna start creating a new comp. I always set mix for the mixing of all the layers. First of all, we're going to start with the background. I separated the lights turned off from the background actually because, as you just see, the colors are changing at the end, so it's easier to program if we separate both layers. So we create a solid, and then we're about to add a 4-color gradient. That's it. We want to see it mostly black, but with a little bit of orange, maybe a little yellow, because the lights are gonna be this color. So it's good to mix them with a little bit of color. We will see it later. One on the top and one of the bottom. We're gonna make it a little bit different, maybe a little bit darker, because the sensation we want to have to achieve is that it's mostly black, but it has a touch of color. And just before we start with the lights, I just want to show you a clip from Martin Scorsese's Casino. Everybody who likes Martin films, please hands up right now. And just take a look on how these lights work, because it's obvious that they are fixed. The lights are not moving. It's just the programming that makes the sensation that they are moving, because they displace the on and off turning of the lights, and that's what make the sensation that the lights are actually moving. Here go back to our composition. And we want to start creating. We're going to duplicate these layers and pre-compose it to make a new composition to work with the lights. So we put it here, lights, alright. And I want to show you just the basics of the programming, because I'm not going to show all the programming that I did. I think it would be too long and too complex, but you can get the basics, because it's really a simple method to do it. We want to start with the first light. We're going to make a mask for the light, and basically you program one light and then you repeat it and change keyframes on time, so you will have the effect that we want. So we start with the keys. We set 0, and we move forward five keyframes. It should be at the beginning, okay, and then 100% of opacity. They keep it for a few more keys, few more frames. Add another key with 100%, and then we go back to 0, and we're about to see the effect. It's good. It's a good beginning. We want to add the expression for a loop so we can see it doing this movement all the time. Cycle loop, and let's see the effect. Okay, so we have the basic programming, but we have to adjust a little bit because it was for me a little bit automatic, so we add an easy ease on the beginning and the end. The difference will be more natural. That's better. So we have the basic movement here, and we're about to duplicate this layer. I used 7 different movements for all the drawings. It's basically based on the same programming, but as you will see, when we start moving the keys, the drawings will be different every time. So we copy this, another one, you have to keep in mind that the keyframes are located in the same place and time at this moment, so the lights will do exactly the same. That's it. It's a good pattern. I use it. But then if you start to move the layers so that you move the keyframes, you will get the effect that the light is like moving, that starts on the bottom and goes up to the top, and then because we have that loop, there you got it. You have the effect that the light is moving because the programming is the same but is displayed on time. That's the basic effect from the programming. As you can see, it's some very simple, but you only have to think how to make that drawings. So I'm gonna duplicate again and put it on top of this so you can see the effect. Now there are 14 lights here. Move it a little bit up. And you can see the effect. That's it. Now they're on place. This is just an example for you to see how to make it. And let's preview. That's the movement. That's the basic movement that I use for all the programmings, for all the different. It goes up. But if you change it through the drawing, you can make a lot of different effects. It's just a matter of time. So let's imagine we do all the programming. I have this, every one of these layers are different videos with programmings, because I want to spend a lot of time explaining this, but you got the basics so you can make it, so you can understand how it works. And now you can see that the programming is the same, but you have to make the drawing go along. This one is more simple, it's just going up all the way. Some of them are more complex and some are more simple, but the basic is always the same. So we go back to our main composition. We take the lights, put it on top, and we're going to change it to the add mode. I think that The add mode is the key for this tutorial, because give you a lot of realism. If you use it good and you mix in different layers, you can have really a realistic light. We're gonna add blur. Just 10 will be good, I think. Okay, that's right. And then we're gonna add glow. We have to turn up the glow radius to see it around the lights all the time, and maybe a little bit more intensity. Let's check out how it works. We will add another layer for the glow after you will see it, but for now the base of the light is these ones that you're seeing right now. The glow is working well. That's it. Now you have the sensation that the lights are really turning on and off. So here we got the basic layer for the light, and then we're going to add another layer with the star glow, trap code star glow, as you will see. Okay, so this is right. Just wanna add a little tint to make it some orange color, similar to the background. Okay, so I think you can see how the different drawings change with the glow. The sensation is good because the glow is moving with the lights. That's it. It works really fine. Here's a little trick that I learned from doing this, is that I add another layer for the rays, and we're gonna do the same as in the first light layer, and we have the same program in here. I just edit so you don't have to see how I put all the different programmings, but you have to imagine that this is exactly the same programming that we have before, but these are smaller lights, and we're gonna use this to make the star glow effect work better, because I put it here so you can see it's the same programming but just smaller lights. And if we add the star glow to the lights, to the bigger lights, the effect is really good. I think that it works really well, but if you put it in the big lights, it's too much. It's like it's too big. We don't want to have this effect so strong. We need it to be smaller. So then I have the idea of adding another layer and using star glow with the layer just with the smaller lights, so the sensation will be a lot more what we want. We have the basic light, and then we add a little touch of glow. We have to change these colors because they are greens and reds. We change it all to some yellow, so it would work better with the lights, would be more realistic. We're trying to get some realistic, but at the same time a little bit stylized. and we change all this to the A color. Now it starts to look better, maybe a little bit more wider, more white. That's it. As I was saying, we just trying to make something realistic, but a little bit cooler than reality. If you know what I'm saying. We adjust. We about to adjust the opacity, because right now the star glow is too strong, and we have to mix them both to find the right mix to get the sensation that we're about to get, that we want to achieve. It's starting to look good, but it's too shiny right now, so we have to change the source opacity. We can put it to 0, just you can see. You have the source opacity. This is too strong, so we just let the star glow opacity on, so you will get light only in the points that you are truly turned on. And now we add a little lens blur, maybe just a little bit, put it in 3. Maybe a little bit more. That's too much. 60 will be good. And we adjust a little bit the glow radius from the basic lights to make it a little bit bigger, to have more presence, and the intensity a little bit too. I think this really starts to look like what we're trying to achieve. That's all good. Maybe a little bit less rays will be nice. We are very close to the look that we're trying to get. I think this would be nice. Okay. So we have the basic lights, the glow, turn off lights, and the background. As you see, the add mode is very interesting how it works, because we have that gradient color that adds to the light, and we go to the next step, that is adding the sparks that you saw falling in the beginning. So we create a new solid and add trap code particular. It's a very good plugin. We start with the basic settings and put it here on the top. Go to the meter and change the value to 200. And we're gonna adjust the look a little bit. Turn it to add mode. The opacity, the random opacity, we go to the physics and add a lot of gravity, because we want to see it as it is a falling water. Really start to look good, but maybe they're moving too fast. So slow down velocity a little bit. It's looking better now. We have to change, let me see, the gravity a little bit less so they will fall not that fast. That's better now. Maybe they're falling too fast still. We turn it to 110. Let's see from the beginning. It starts to look really good, but still the particles spread too much. We want to make it look like it's a more regular form. We change velocity, we turn it down. That's it. Velocity 10. We make the life a little bit longer, 4 seconds. We change the random life so they will disappear not exactly in the same way. And then gravity a little bit slower. Now it starts to look really like we want to. A little bit slow maybe now. Change physics to 2. This speed up the sparks, and we change the air spin amplitude to 40. We make it more regular. Now you see that it's a ray that going straight down. Now it's a lot like we want to see it. Maybe the size a little bit down, adjust this random size so it will look a little bit different. The opacity down, and more random to the opacity. So you have more texture, different texture. Okay, so now we're done with this part. It looks really fine. And we're gonna put it spark center. It would be the center. We put it in the right place, right here in the center. And then we're gonna add a glow. Let me see. Turn up the glow radius and the intensity. 17. That's it. And then a tint again. Make it like some yellow. More brighter than the letters because it's the way that you see it in the front. And now we duplicate it. In add mode, a lot of times duplicate the layers works really fine. Now see the effect. Looks really good. So I think we are done with this part, and we can start making another sparks on the left. We will move it here, and then we change a little bit the parameters to don't look exactly the same as the other ray. Change gravity to 55 and the spin amplitude to 35, so it looks a little bit different. It doesn't matter that look similar, but not exactly the same, just a little bit different. We have to think also that these rays will be on screen for maybe 3 seconds, so it's not that important that they don't have to look very different, just a little bit. And maybe we change another parameter, the random live, so that works well. We duplicate this layer again, put it left, and we duplicate as I said, and then turn down the opacity to look just like the other. Put it 70. Okay. And we're gonna make the last ray on the right, so duplicate again and move the emitter. That's it. I think this one can be exactly like the left one because, as I said, they're just 3 seconds on screen, so you don't have time to see that they are exactly the same. The sensation is good, I think. The feeling that you get is good. Some Michael Jackson moment. Turn down the opacity again. And then we got this part. Let's see how the three all together look. This works just fine. I think it's a great look. And then we will see how it work with the basic lights, the Cabaret lights. As you can see in the add mode, it's very interesting the effect that you get when you mix different layers. It seems like it's really on fire. Let's turn down a little bit this opacity because maybe it's a little bit too strong. 15 and then 50 again on the three rays. Okay, so now we're done with this part and we're gonna start making the explosion. We will use particle again. We turn off all the layers so we can work easier and faster. We use particular again, and then we have to adjust the particles to the form of the letters. We change the emitter. It has to be an explosion, so we have 7,000 will be good. Then move one frame forward and put it to 0 because we need to look like an explosion, so it's a lot of particles in the beginning and then they stop and just spread. We change the emitter type to box and velocity a little bit up, and we have to adjust the geometry of the particles to the letter. Velocity maybe a little bit up. 2000 will be good, and the emitter size, we have to change the emitter size to fit on the letter. Let's see. Okay, that's the basic setting. We have to adjust a little bit, maybe the particles, the size of the particles a little slower and more random to edit a little texture, just like we did before. And we turn the opacity down and go up with the random again. No, 100 will be good, but now maybe they don't have the random life to make it more realistic, and the random size maybe was a bit higher. Now it looks better. They moving a little bit slow, so we turned up the velocity to 4000. It looks better now. And we add a little bit of gravity, but just a little bit. We want them to spread and then fell down a little bit, but not too much. It's not like the falling water that we did before. It would look good for this effect. Maybe we have to add a little bit more particles. Okay. $30,000. Now it's starting to look good. The effect of the explosion is working better now. They changed the life. Maybe it lived too long. Nah, not. It's too short. So we left it on 2.3. That works. Okay. And now we will change the physics time factor to 2. They move faster now, but it looks a lot more like an explosion. Now we maybe turn down the particles again, 8000. And I think this is the effect that we were looking for. Now the explosion works just fine. Maybe a little bit smaller particles. Yeah. So we gonna do the same with all the letters, but you don't have to put it in every single part of every letter because it's not necessary. We have to adjust. Maybe 70% of the letters will be covered with particles, but the other part of the letters they don't need to be with particles because there will be a lot of particles. Turn it down a little bit more so we would look like the other. It's a smaller part, so must have less particles, and change a little bit some velocity and the random. They will look a little bit different from the other, but mostly the same. Maybe turn down the velocity. This one too. They will move a little bit slower. That's good. So imagine that we just have to do this with all the letters. I will cut the edit because it took a little bit of time, but imagine that we've been doing this with all the letters, adjusting the particles to the geometry of the letters and changing a little bit the parameters. It's a better big piece, so we need more particles, and this is how it looks. As you can see, you have the sensation that all the letters are blowing. You don't need to cover every single part of every letter, but the sensation is it's good. Change a little bit parameters to look it more realistic. Randomly can change a little bit the gravity to make it more realistic look, so they don't will move all in the same way. They will change a little bit. That was good. And now we are done with this part. We're going to pre-compose the layer. We put spark letters. That's it. So we can work it on just one layer. We turn it to add mode. Turn the opacity down to 80. That's right. And then we add a tint to make it more yellow. That's it. And let's see the effect with all the other layers turned on. I think it works pretty good. That's the effect that we was looking for. Like this strong explosion. I call it the Michael Jackson moment. That's what I call it. We're about to set up the explosion of the beginning. We have to work a little bit with the keys. We're going to add keyframes to the lights, to the opacity of the lights. We turn it down to 0. And then we have to key the radius, glow radius, and the glow intensity. Oh, I just forgot to key the opacity of the layer. Okay. So we need to make a real quick blowing up. So we just move 3 frames forward and we turn it up to 70 on the opacity, and the glow radius is going up very fast. So we will have this effect of the explosion at the beginning, the glow intensity going higher too, and we will keep these settings for maybe 7-8 frames. So we have to copy these keyframes and paste it a little bit forward. That's it. And then we move again like 5 or 6 frames forward, and we copy the original glow radius and glow intensity. The opacity is good now, maybe a little bit down, 60. So you have the effect that it blows up really fast and then fades out slower. That's the effect that we're trying to get. Now we're working with the rays. We're going to set it to 0, opacity to 0, move forward, and then we set the key here because the rays will be showing a little bit later than the light. And here we put it to 70. So the mixing of the 2 layers makes the sensation that the lights are turning on really fast, but the rays, we will see the rays later than the lights. That's it. And then we go to the spark. We don't need to key this, but just move it when the glow and the lights are 100%. Then we start to see the explosion sparks blown away. Let's see it. Preview. That's the effect. We have to move real fast at the beginning, and then we're gonna add a solid to add more light to this moment of explosion. We turn it up for a moment. We move it forward. And when the sparks start to show, we have some extra light coming from this solid. We turn the opacity down to 0, move it to add mode. Want to tint it yellow again, as all the other layers, as we've done before. So we set the key, and we will see. We want to add a very strong light in this moment of the explosion. Turn it to normal, it will be better. But check all the layers together are creating this effect. So we turn down to 0 and key, move forward 2 frames, and then turn opacity to 70, 75. It's the same technique that we used before. It's like very fast, blowing up, and then the fade out will be slower, so we move forward like 9, 10 frames, and we will look at the effect that it makes all together. That's it. Now you have the sensation that it's really an explosion in this moment. We turn off all the ray sparks, the falling water. We move it to the beginning, because the first of all we're about to see is the falling sparks, and then we have the explosion. Now we got this. Now it's really starting to look good. That's a Michael Jackson. Now it looks good. Let's see it real time. This is the strongest moment of the tutorial, of the video. And then we want to stop the falling sparks, so we key it, and the moment we want to start, we key again to 0. We key the meter to 2000 and then to 0 again, and we have to do it with all the layers that contains falling sparks. In fact, we can copy the keys directly to the layer. So that's what I'm about to do. Just paste it to all the layers, so they will all cut in the same moment. We cut the falling sparks in this moment. So there we go. Explosion again. And then the rays just stop emitting, so they just fall down and disappear, because from now the important part of the lights are just the cabaret lights. We stop all the other things and just see how the lights working. That's it. But they should start right now. I think I moved these layers. The layer of the lights and rays should start at the beginning, because the programming that I did, that we see before, they must be at the beginning. So when the explosion turned off, you immediately see the programming of the lights. So we have to move these keys. And now that's it. After the explosion, we just see the programming of the lights. Let's see it. Boom. That's it. Now these layers are on the right place. We are done with this part, and we are going to adjust some color changes that, if you remember, we saw at the end of the video. And we'll check a little bit. The progress looks fine. I think maybe the opacity of the lights turned off should be a little bit lower, maybe like 19, or even a bit less, 85. Now it looks good. And at the end of the animation, if you remember, there were some light changes from the lights in the background, and we're going to work on this part. We go to the programming of the lights to see exactly where it is. And here it is. If you can see, there are very fast changing on the programming here. Each one of these is a different programming, and we're going to change the light through all these changes. We will make it to yellow and green. Anyway, we go to the exact moment where it changes, and when we're going to set a keyframe for the color of the background, move forward just one frame and change the color. Let's see the keys. I have to move it. It's one before. Here it is. And then we have the change. Here we're going to change the color from the, we're going to some lilac. The lighting of the colors must be very similar to what we have, but we change the color. We take this and put it a little bit darker. That's it. And then we have to change the light colors too. We set a key for the tint, and then again we move and we change the color to what we need to be adjusted with the background. That's it. We have to set these keys to hold, because if we don't do this, it will change progressively, and we want to stay the same until we have the next color. So we change it to hold. With the lights, have to do the same with the color of the lights of the tint. So interpolation, hold again. Okay, and now we go into the programming again to see the next change of color, the next pattern on the lights, and it's, check it here. That's exactly what we want to change. And here, change the patterns of the lights. So we change the lights and the color of the background again. We turn it to some green. It will be the same process through all the changes. Basically, it's the same thing. And then we change the light color again to some green to match with the background. We go to the next programming, next pattern. We will make some blue. It's good. Change this to something more dark again, and then we repeat the same process. So this will be a good ending for the video, because you have the same color through all the video. You have changed but you have different patterns. But in this moment we want to get the attention of the audience again, so we change another thing differently from all the previous part that you see. So we just change the color to get a different sensation, so the audience will look at the video again like, whoa, that's something different, something that's changing. Here I'm copying the same color as two patterns before, but it's all good. You will see the final result will be good. And we're finishing here with the last patterns. I think this one more. There it is. And then we go back to the original color that we've been seeing through all the animation. Just little tricks to get the attention of the audience, because I'm gonna paste the first keyframe on lighting and background. So there we go back to the original colors, and we're about to set up just the end of the animation, where you see a little, it's not an explosion, but the lights are shining a little bit and then turn off to the final fade out. So the change must be here. This is the end of programming, and here we have some static lights, so we have to program the fade out. I want to copy these keyframes, glow radius and glow intensity, move forward couple of frames and then turn it up, because it's gonna be like a last breath of the lighting before they finally die. I mean, it may sound a little bit poetic, but that's the effect that I was trying to get. It's like the final breath before you die. Okay. So we add the key to the solid, and then turn it up a little bit. It's not gonna be as strong as the beginning, so just 30% will be good. Let's see how they work together with the lights and the solid. And move forward, and then the final fade out. We just keep it a little bit more and copy the glow radius and glow intensity, and then here is the final keyframe for the fade out. Opacity, and then return to 0. We will keyframe the opacity of the rays too. They will die a little bit sooner than the lights, so that's why I put it a little bit before the end of the opacity of the lights, so you have the right effect, because you only see rays when it's intense lighting. So when the lighting is going down, at the end you don't see the rays, you see a little bit of lighting around. And then the opacity of the bulbs, the lights turned off. We're going to set a key for this too, and we want to create a new solid to put it on the back of the background, a black solid, so there will be something when the background fades out and not just nothing. We fade to black. we set a key for the background opacity, and just very quickly, like 1 second after, we turn it to 0 and we have the final black. Okay, so now we're done. Let's see how the effect of these different colors works. There we go. See the changing on how every lighting have a different pattern, so that makes a strong effect. And then the last breath and fade out. Okay, so that's the end of our tutorial, and thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to check my website danielgmoreno.com, and see you next time.